Welcome to episode 34 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we begin with the tale of Theseus, and the chapter, His Birth and His Youth. Theseus, king of Athens, was the son of Augeas and Aethra, daughter of King Pittheus of Troezen. On his father's side, he was descended from King Heracles and those Athenians who, according to the legend of that country, had sprung directly from the earth itself. His maternal ancestor was Pelops, whose many sons had made him the mightiest king in all of the Peloponnese. Augeas, the childless king of Athens, who reigned about 20 years before Jason's journey on the Argo, was once visiting one of his sons, Pittheus, founder of the city of Troezen, because he was bound to him by ties of hospitality. Augeas was very afraid of the 50 sons of his brother Pallas, for they were hostile to him, and held him in contempt because he had no children of his own. And so he conceived the idea of marrying again, secretly, without the knowledge of his wife, in the hope that he would thus beget a son who would be a comfort to him in his old age, and to be the heir to his kingdom. He confided the plan to Pittheus, his host, and as luck would have it, the king of Troezen had just received an oracle foretelling that his daughter would not make a splendid marriage in the eyes of the world, but would bear a son whose name would become famous. This swayed Pittheus to marry his daughter Aethra in a secret ceremony to a man who already had a wife. Augeas remained in Troezen for only a few days after this, and then journeyed back to Athens. When he bade his new wedded wife farewell at the seashore, he laid his sword and sandals under a block of stone, saying, "If the gods favor our marriage, into which I have entered lightly, but in order to raise up an heir for my house and my realm, if they grant you a son, rear him in secret and tell no one the name of his father. When he is old enough and strong enough to roll away this rock, lead him to this place. Let him fetch out the sword and shoes and travel to Athens and bring them to me." And Aethra had a son. She named him Theseus and put him in the care of her father Pittheus. In obedience to her husband's wish, she never told who the child's true father was, and his grandfather spread the rumor that he was the son of Poseidon, for the sea god was the patron of that city. The people of Troezen paid him honor by offering the first fruits of their fields to him, and the trident was the emblem of Troezen. In that country, therefore, it was anything but a disgrace that the king's daughter had been found worthy to bear this god a child. When the boy had become not only strong and beautiful, but brave and steadfast, and showed an inborn knowledge of things, his mother took him to the block of stone on the seashore, revealed his true origin, and bade him to fetch forth the objects which would serve to identify him to his father and travel to Athens. Theseus pressed his weight against the stone and pushed it aside without any difficulty. The sandals he bound to his feet, and the sword he strapped to his side. He refused to go by way of the sea, although his grandfather and his mother pleaded with him to do so, since the land route to Athens was in those days beset with robbers and evildoers. For that age produced men who, though powerful in body and strong of arm, did not use their strength to do deeds helpful to men, but only to abuse and destroy whatever came their way, to revel in mischief and crime. Some of these Heracles had slain on his quest. At this time he was the slave of Queen Omphale in Lydia. but while he was ridding the country of lawless violence, broke out again in Greece, because there was no one there to curb it. That was why journeying to Athens by land was a perilous undertaking, and the young man's grandfather gave him vivid accounts of every one of these robbers and murderers, and their particular cruelties they were reputed to inflict upon strangers. But Theseus had long ago taken Heracles as his model. When he was only 7 years old, this hero had visited his grandfather, and while he sat at the king's board and ate the feast prepared for him, little Theseus, among other boys of Troezen, had been allowed to watch him. At the banquet, Heracles had laid aside his lion's skin. When the other boys saw it, they ran away. But Theseus was fearless. Forward, he snatched an axe from the hand of one of the servants, and brandishing it at the skin, which he took for a real lion. Ever since this visit of Heracles, Theseus has been so full of admiration for him that he dreamed of him night and day, thought only of how he could perform feats like this in years to come. Besides, Heracles was his kinsman, for their mothers were cousins. So now, 16-year-old Theseus could not endure the thought that while Heracles was seeking out evildoers and putting an end to their wickedness, he himself should avoid any conflicts he might chance upon. What would the god they call my father think of a cowardly journey over the safe expanse of his water? He asked fretfully. What would my real father think if, as tokens, I brought his sandals that were not grayed with dust, and a sword unstained with blood? These words pleased his grandfather, who had himself been a brave hero. His mother gave his blessings, and Theseus set out on his way. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back tomorrow with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.